Is there a motion to call April 11th Board of Education? Second. All in favor? Aye. All right. Please join me. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all. Thank you all. We will go to policy number 1. Guidelines and input. The board encourages all public participation in school-related matters. And that items does not require a sign up. Period for public input is unrestricted to accommodate as many comments as possible. The board does have discretion to limit public input to particularly any group or organization wishing to address the board must identify a single speech first. Comments should be as brief as possible. Most people are permitted to speak for longer than 3 minutes or longer than 91. If a member wants to address the board more than once, you will wait for all others opportunities to do so. All speakers respect themselves in a respectful manner. C9, I will state threats or violence, racial or other prejudice, violence. Session discussion regarding concerns about individual district personnel students. Persons wishing to discuss these matters should present their comments and concerns to the appropriate administrator during regular business hours. Remember, if the community fails to conduct themselves appropriately or violates the rules set forth in the written, the right to certain persons to be making comments at a board meeting or may direct questions to the board members or other district only upon board members and shall have asking to answer questions to the person who addresses the board. Person shall be responsible for the orderly conduct of the meeting and rule on matters such as the time allowed for public input, discussion, and the appropriateness of the subject being presented. President shall have the right to discontinue any public input which violates this policy. Board of Education reserves the right to enter into executive session as specified in policy 1730. Executive session. With that, number 1, right? If you feel the public will be session address the board, please raise your hand or if online, please put your question in the back row or raise your hand. Is everybody here? So nobody first. Is there anything else?
No.
With that, we will move on to section 5 of the agenda, the superintendent's report.
So first part of tonight, superintendent's report, that's PreK program. So look at it and go to anything else.
Okay. Just checking, Mr. Fisher, everybody can see me and hear me as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. And thank you to the Board of Ed and Mr. Nichols for giving us an opportunity to give an update on the Sag Harbor PreK, a program that I think we all should be extremely proud of. The initial slides that I'm about to share are going to seem very familiar to some in the audience. Some of our members of the board, Ms. Krull, I know Ms. Tice couldn't be with us tonight. They've been such strong advocates of the PreK really since the very beginning, and we're really grateful to the board and the community for the continued support that's been shown this wonderful program. The PreK committee that was formed probably roughly like 2007, and did a lot of work and research, which led to a presentation to the board in the winter of 2010, culminating in the launch of the program in September of 2010, where we started with a half-day program that was a partnership with the SCOPE program. It was housed in the elementary school. It was a great launch that went on for 4 years here in the district. And then in 2014, the Sag Harbor School District made the decision to take over the program completely, ran for a number of years as a half-day program. Some of that time was spent right here at Pearson Middle School, High School. And then we made the move over to the Learning Center. And we're very happy that this September 2021, we started our full day. So tonight we're going to give an update on how things are going and highlight the successes that we're seeing in the program. But I did just want to go back and talk about 2 key points. And the first is that when we started, we really wanted to make sure that we all looked to the establishment of a thoughtful pre-K program as a really sound investment. One, both the students that attend, those 4-year-old children that attend, we see the research is clear that there are lasting academic benefits for them, but also money spent supporting a pre-K program comes back to help our school system as a whole in the long term. The research is pretty clear that it's a sound investment community-wide. The long-lasting benefits of a well-designed and well-delivered pre-K program are very clear. This philosophy statement, which was created by our committee back then, reads: the pre-K program at Sag Harbor Elementary School will be designed to provide an enriching learning environment for our children. We value the uniqueness of the individual child and will provide a multitude of developmentally appropriate experiences, enabling active learners to achieve their fullest potential. So I hope you see this philosophy threaded throughout the presentation tonight. And if you ever have the opportunity to visit the wonderful site at the Learning Center, I know that this would come true if you saw what's going on there. So with that, I'm very happy to invite up Mrs. Reynoso. She's our assistant principal at the elementary school. One of her many duties is being a key leader of our pre-K program. And I'm really grateful to the guidance and the support that Betty shows at our pre-K each day. And she, along with our amazing staff, have put together a great presentation to share with the board and the community tonight. So, Ms. Reynoso?
Thank you, Mr. Malone. Good evening, everyone. I am indeed so excited to share these slides with you because I think they are a very true and accurate description of what our Sag Harbor Learning Center pre-K program is about. A lot of hard work, effort, and love went into putting these slides together, and I think you'll see that in the pictures that I will share with you shortly. In the formative years, play is almost synonymous with life. And boy, is that true in a pre-K program. It really is a joy to be able to be there every single day. Play is definitely synonymous with learning and with life. And our teachers really work very hard in incorporating this into our day-to-day. The social skills that children learn in our program in order to be successful: cooperation, responsibility, empathy, and self-control. If you can make out the wording in the slide to the left, it reads, pre-K is so much fun. And that also is very accurate. Every year we do a door decorating contest throughout the entire elementary school, and of course pre-K participates as well. So this again is an accurate description of our day-to-day and how fun is incorporated into our curriculum. Our program is an exploratory one. So what does that mean? That means that our children really help guide the curriculum. There's always the academic piece, of course, but when we say exploratory, what we mean is the teachers, of course, have their structure and routine and curriculum that they follow, but the children really help guide the lesson as well. Part of the beauty of being able to offer this program now full day is that the teachers have the ability to really take a deeper dive and richer exploration into what they're working on their day to day. And again, I think you'll see that in the slides and also with what the teachers share in a few moments. It's a multidisciplinary learning program at its core. And with that, I'll show you some pictures of our day today. So here we have some puppet making to the left. And again, just elaborating a little further on the exploratory program, the teacher encourages children to develop their ideas and questions. So again, it's the idea of them taking that deeper dive into what's already being taught in the classrooms and activities being planned around us. To the right, we have butterfly release, which all the stages of the butterfly in one of the classes. And when I mention a deeper dive, they're able to really explore the life of the monarch butterfly, all of its stages into life, becoming a butterfly. I believe this picture was just today, and the release was actually this afternoon. And then our pre-K full-day program at a glance. So, of course, there are key elements to our full-day program. Morning meeting is a staple. It's something that occurs every single day, along with mathematics, CLA, exploratory science. But one of the beautiful things with our teachers and then having the ability to really work with our kids on many different levels is also spontaneous learning. And with that, I mean, there's always room for a snow event, for example. So teachers, of course, have the ability to take kids outside where they might build ice cones or ice globes or snow angels. So, you know, that's all part of the program of being at Sag Harbor and being 4 and being able to really enjoy all the elements of the building and what's available to them. So we also, of course, encourage kids to eat outside as well. So they're left eating in the classroom, beautiful weather, they have the ability to eat outside. The building is only for our pre-K, so they're really able to utilize all the spaces. An example of morning meeting, celebrating Dr. Seuss's birthday. And then here we have another slide which really showcases some of the other classroom spaces that are available. So the students have their general home base, their classroom where they meet their teachers at the start of every single day. But the building also allows for different spaces for kids to explore dramatic play, theatrical play, construction blocks. There's a library space also in the building that the kids have access to. Counseling activities. An example of one of our construction rooms where they have building blocks that they're able to use. And then here to the right, we have a celebration of the 100 days of school, which is a big deal in an elementary school, celebrating the 100 days. And the kids being able to utilize this gymnasium to also spread out and explore all the different ways to count to 100. And the left is one of the hallway spaces where they're able to, again, spread out, use construction paper large, roll it out, and again, expand on that space that they have access to throughout the day. Again, thinking of the idea of fun in our building, which is largely encouraged. Here we have a picture to the left of our faculty. Picture to the right. It's almost hard to tell who are the students, who's the faculty, because our teachers are really great and really into exploring and having fun as well. I would love to take a moment to introduce them to you. So our pre-kindergarten teachers who are with us tonight, one couldn't join us unfortunately, is Ms. Ryer, Ms. Cummings in the middle could not be here tonight. We have Ms. Romeo, the other PK teacher. We also have 2 teaching assistants who were able to join us. Ms. DiLorenzo is here with us, and also Ms. Martin. We also have the great fortune of having a school nurse in our building who's with us every single day, of course, for everyday minor or major emergencies. There aren't too many major emergencies, thank goodness. But here's an example of her doing a vision screening with one of the students. Our support staff, we have security that is there with us every single day, our front desk person, Ms. Seymour, and then Ms. Higgins, our daytime custodial person helping as well. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Wire to speak to us a little bit about exploratory play and how she's able to take a deeper dive into one of the curriculum areas of study that she shared with her kids. I'm going to share slides for you.
Oh, I'm a little nervous, sorry. So you can see in this picture here, this was a paleontology study that we did in January, and we like to start the children off with a little provocation to pique their interest. So we brought in some large animal bones and antlers to understand the dinosaur dimensions. That went on to make a very huge head of a T-Rex to kind of give them an idea of the size. To expand the physical aspect for this dinosaur, we cut, stuffed, painted it, labeled it, and just really gives us an idea of the hands-on learning of the size of these creatures. The building itself really lent itself to the gym, as a matter of fact, or the height of the church steeple across the street. It's just about the size of a T-Rex. Our studies typically run from 3 to 4 weeks, depending on the interest of the students. We find that the more the students feel the ownership of their learning, the more engaged that they are. So we ask them, what do you want to learn about? Paleontologists actually now have evidence that dinosaurs indeed have skins similar to lizards. If you read the New York Times this weekend, they actually had a picture of a perfectly preserved dinosaur leg. And I think that this is a great photo because it's a terrific example of STEAM education in the real world. The children thinking of themselves as paleontologists as they examine these very large snake skins. And then, of course, with this study, we hit a lot of books, a tremendous amount of nonfiction and research. We make KWL charts. We achieved many things through cooperative work. Here, these tables are an example of some of the other rooms. We have discovery tables, and you can see some of the bones and rabbit furs and things that they have with magnifying glasses. On the other table, for some children, their entry point into the learning is through art and storytelling. So the teacher will take dictation of their story, they'll present it to the class. Their work is honored on display tables and documentation boards. But having these construction rooms, drama rooms, music, library, art rooms allows us to bring these themes to life through large construction, measurement, movement, art projects. Of course, at the end of the dinosaur study, we have to have them go extinct, and what better way than with a volcano? And we have a little paleontologist on the right who is, those dinosaurs are actually in ice that he's trying to remove with a toy hammer. It took a few days. But these integrated themes allow every learner an entry point, whether through science, literature, movement. They use their journals to document their learning throughout the study. And these themes are the STEAM education that invites the experiential learning and problem solving that we are completely striving for in PreK. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ryer. Next, I would like to invite our art teacher, Ms. Miller, to elaborate a little further on some great pictures that she shared with us as well.
Hello, everyone. Ms. Miller. I just wanted to start off by saying that it's been a really rewarding experience, I think, well, for the students, but I think also for me. I'm pretty new. So seeing a pre-K like this just blew my mind. I mean, it's so well-rounded, and the availability that these kids have. I'm talking to my sisters all the time. I'm like, I wish my nieces and nephews were here because it's just so thematic and integrated in the building. So for the art program itself, for me, if you look up at the slides there, I tried to expose them to all different types of materials and mediums and I'm laughing all the time, especially with the TAs that are in there with me at their reactions, especially if we're doing paper mache, something super sticky, or I'm like, what is this? You know, having that experience in the art room in a spot where it's okay to get dirty and messy is, you know, really critical in their art and creative learning. I think also just developmentally, I mean, if you see the middle photo there, when they're tracing their hands, I mean, that takes a lot of fine motor skill to really do that. They didn't get it the first time, they had to try a few times, and then finally we came home with these like beautiful little ornaments. And again, the space really allowed us to dive deeper into more mediums. The one all the way on the left where we're like rolling this ball, it's actually a paper mache planet that we're rolling through paint that is on top of this long table. And I think that was one of my favorites with them because they couldn't believe they were allowed to squirt paint like along this on this table. Are you like, really, we could do this? And so that was a blast. That was actually for our space exhibit at the Parish Art Museum. Now we're gonna go on Wednesday. Let's go. It's still up till the 22nd. So they explored, you know, different themes of space in the James Webb Telescope for that. But also, I did want to point out that I think overall having the art over at the Learning Center as a separate piece is they really learn to have that sense of accomplishment when you keep working at something over a long period of time. So they're really used to, you know, instant gratification, but in art, you have to constantly come back to your project and continue, and you mess up and you go through your challenges and you persevere, and then you finally come out with this beautiful product, or maybe not so beautiful product, but at least you finished it. And then I think in the end, they're more confident about themselves. So for me, that's what the art program does at the Learning Center and, well, in school in general. But yeah, I think overall, I love it there. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. The next few slides are from Miss Lacasso, our music teacher, who could not be here tonight because she is in West Hampton with some other elementary schools who are performing in NISPA this evening. So, of course, we wish them the best of luck. She did share some notes with me, which I would be happy to read on her behalf. She apologizes for not being here tonight, but wanted to recognize the importance of music education in early learners. Through music and movement, our young learners are able to connect concepts such as a steady beat, rhythm, melody, dynamics, and more. In these photos, you see students working together in groups to create loud and soft patterns and rhythms. They are working together and taking turns and exploring instruments. A mix of guided instruction allows them freedom to create their own sounds and patterns. Ms. Lacasso will often bring instruments to the class for them to explore and experiment with. For example, the flute, the photo of the flute, so that they're able to hold it, feel the weight of it, get to see what it looks like. And then, of course, Ms. Lacasso can play beautiful music with it as well. Last, she notes, as a mom of a child in the full-day PreK program, she cannot express enough how thrilled she is that Sag Harbor has given the community this wonderful service of allowing children to grow and thrive through music and be happy. And with that, she shared a video that I will pause for just a second. Thanks. So I just want to share with you what you are seeing, which is Joseph Haydn's Surprise Symphony. And what Ms. Lacasso wrote regarding this is Franz Joseph Haydn was a composer who lived almost 300 years ago in Austria. Much to his horror, he noticed that when he would perform for the prince who he was summoned by and his guest, often the guest ate too much and they got sleepy during his concerts and his performances. So he wrote this surprise symphony over 300 years ago so that when guests would fall asleep, there was a surprise element in the music that would wake them up. So this is an example of Ms. Lacasso sharing this music with her students and playing out what that might have looked like for them.
Okay, back to sleep. I wonder when the next one will be. Now the music's gonna get louder, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a surprise. We're still waiting for that shocking part, right? Yeah, good job. Oh, back to sleep.
You have to listen so that you can hear the surprise.
Oh!
Great, thank you, Mr. Fisher. So Ms. Lacasso shared this with all the parents of the students in this class, and of course they were so happy to get this video of their children in the building learning music. I would like to invite Ms. Romeo up next to speak about service learning and how service learning led to a community service project and learning about community work and community workers.
Hi guys. Well, if you don't know me, I'm Tara Romeo. I'm one of the PreK teachers. Thank you very much for always supporting our programs. We really appreciate it from the children of the community. In the first photo, okay, I'm just going to talk to you then. Community service is a big, let me try again. La, la, la.
Okay, this is muted. Oop. Testing. Okay, but we had that on the, still up there. Maybe I can take from here. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Community service is a really big piece of our curriculum for growth and development of a pre-K student. Our belief is children are innately kind, but we want to make them even kinder than they already are. So we teach them to give back to their community and be empathetic of others in certain situations. So this fall, we found some maple trees growing in our little garden in the back, and we decided to dig them out, sell them. In front, we dug them out, we potted them, we sold them in front of the school, and we raised $135 for those with those plants. We then went to the store and bought, items to donate to the food pantry, and we had each class, all three classes took the trip up, they sorted the items, and they took a trip, they had a tour, and then they learned something about giving back to the community. So what they took back, I actually went today and we had the big talk, and what they took back was, you have to feed people when they're hungry. So that was there. And those are all the pictures of them having fun at the food pantry. They're sorting, they're taking a tour, they're doing so many different things. They're hiding under the tables. They had fun doing that too. Of course, they're 4-year-olds. And that's the end. We met Mrs. Ramuno, and her, I believe that's, let's see, who is that? Mrs. Latanzio. That's Mrs. Latanzio in that picture. So we met them and they took us through a tour there and they had a great time. Now in this second set of pictures, it tied into, this was like a culminating, taking them to the food pantry for us was like a culminating lesson of our healthy habits and community service workers. We put together a supermarket in the classroom, but before reading them, we read them literature about healthy habits. We put together a supermarket and we were able to use the grocery store that was created in the classroom, in the drama room, to demonstrate healthy eating habits by not only including this enriched vocabulary and to excite them about the topic, but we headed over there and we had the real experience of shopping for our families using the real products and photos and lists, grocery lists we had written. The children used math skills such as reasoning, counting, sorting, and beginning reading. Skills, and they also read the environmental print signs and looked for the pictures and the words they were familiar with and the products they decided to purchase. They also decided themselves, using their reasoning skills, which foods were the healthy foods, and they placed them into their carts, and the cashiers and the clerks who were working with them rang them up and loaded their carts, thus creating many more math activities. They had so much fun. So this extra space enriched their learning, and the children were intrinsically motivated to learn about healthy habits because they had the opportunity to immerse themselves in an actual play experience that really helped them associate things with their real, in their real world, learning about how healthy foods and shop for groceries, and who doesn't love to shop, right? So thank you again for helping us foster this universal learning environment. We really appreciate it.
Romeo. So if you have not had the chance yet to tour the Sag Harbor Learning Center, it is a really amazing, beautiful space. Here's a glimpse of what the building looks like, both on the inside and out. So what you're looking at is the front entrance of the building. To the right is another play space, which is where the theatrical play took place, where the dinosaurs hanging. Of course, the gymnasium. The back of the building has our playground, and then to the right is the classroom library space. So it's really tremendous that we have been afforded this opportunity to be so centrally located in the heart of beautiful Sag Harbor Village, which really lends itself to a lot of opportunities just by default of being where it is. The kids have the opportunity to take many walking field trips. For example, to the Fun Field, which is a grassy space, grassy lawn, which is just 1 block away from the building. The food pantry, as the teachers mentioned, is an annual event that the kids are able to take as well. And they're also able to utilize spaces like at the Sag Harbor Elementary School. The playground, the greenhouse, the outdoor classroom is another space. All of these are within walking distance, as well as, of course, Pearson Hill, which is a staple for any young child in our community, just running up the hill and running or rolling down the hill. So just having access to that as well on a weekly basis is really, really something special and something that we treasure and value, being able to do that with the youngest kids in our school. Last, I'd like to mention that we have the date for our open house. Our annual open house is taking place in person, and that is Thursday, May 5th at 6:30 p.m. Of course, it's eligible to any resident, any child who is a resident of the Sag Harbor School District who will turn 4 by December 1st, 2022. And this, again, will be an opportunity for us to open our doors to our incoming pre-K students and their families, and they'll have the opportunity to walk the entire building and, of course, meet our faculty and staff. So we look forward to seeing you then. And with that, I would like to thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the slides. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer that. Or Mr. Malone. Or I could step to the right. Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks, Councilman.
More than welcome to stay.
When this vision was created, and then created like 10, 12 years ago, I don't think any of us could have ever possibly imagined that 4-year-old to have curriculums and experiences that they have here. And that's not only kudos to our administration, but also our teachers that you have on staff and their assistants. And I just want to say thank you for everything you provided, because this was, I'm blown away. Like my mind, I'm like, oh my God, like so amazing. So thank you guys so much for what you do. I never could have imagined it would be like this. So thank you. You went over and above. Best job in the world. Yeah, yeah. And if you love your job, you never go to work. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. I only yell at Alex. Fine, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Sorry you have to stay. Yeah, no way, that's right. Wow. That was amazing. That was really, like, that is something that we should really, really do.
It's impressive.
It really was. Like 4-year-olds are doing that? It's pretty impressive. Although I'm not surprised.
I thought Mr. Walner was going to sneak out and said everybody would go. Good for you. Should have wanted everybody. I don't want to miss it. You know? Okay, so moving on to the principal's report.
I'll go first.
So,
I'll be nice. So you're gonna build up.
What are we doing now?
Principal's report.
Well, I still have a little bit of.
Oh, you do? That's fine.
Oh,
No, I think we just need to acknowledge that the COVID cases in the community are going up. You've seen the mailings or the emails that go home. We had another couple of cases today. And as I've done throughout, just to give you a sense or some context, if you go back to the 12th of March, test positive was 1.7% in Suffolk County, and the 7-day average was 1.4. The 9th of April, which is a little less than a month later, it was 6%, so it went from 1.7 to 6. The 7-day went from 1.4 to 3.5. The cases per 100,000 residents went from 6.8 to 30.9, so almost a 5-fold increase. And the 7-day average went from 5.9 to 16.3. The good thing is that if you go to the CDC website and you punch in Suffolk County, it's still classified as low risk. But the conditions on the ground are changing, and just today, Philadelphia, this afternoon, I read in the Wall Street Journal, re-implemented an indoor mask mandate. So, you know, we'll continue to monitor conditions. We'll take our cues from Suffolk County Department of Health and the New York State Department of Health, and hopefully as the weather gets warmer, we can get through this phase when people are outside and the numbers don't continue to spike. But if they do, we'll adjust as we need to.
any questions for Mr. Nichols, board members?
Okay, sorry to interrupt there, Ms. Carriero.
Good job, I didn't know.
I'll be quick. Pierce Middle High School is winding up to wind down. We only have 2 more months after spring break, so it's kind of assessment season. So this past weekend, our fabulous high school theater program put on the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. It was an interactive show this year, and it was some of our community members, about 4 each play, were able to participate. It was fantastic for you to see it. And then this week, the end of the week, on April 13th and April 14th, we have parent-teacher conferences. Due to everyone's COVID comfort level, and after surveying our families, we're going to be doing a hybrid schedule where our in-person model will be similar to what we had, but the teachers spread out. So our content area teachers will be in our high school gymnasium, and that is for the morning session and the 2 morning sessions during the 13th and 14th, and then the evening session is going to be online. So our parents that are working or cannot make it or do not want to come into the building because of COVID will have the opportunity to meet with the teachers online. Right after break, the 26th and the 27th of April is our New York State math test for grades 6 through 8. And then right after that, our first IB exam starts on the April 28th, which is physics, and it doesn't end until May 20th. So we are in that assessment season. Our kids are ready this year, especially more than ever, because they have been in person. And we're just excited to get them ready for those exams, but they're totally ready for them. Any questions?
No, I just want to comment also, I saw the play. It just never disappoints. It really was just outstandingly done again. Kudos to the kids and their comments, right?
Thank you. Mr. Malone? Yeah. Okay, hello again, everyone. Just quickly thank you, Ms. Reynoso and the PreK faculty and staff. I thought they did an outstanding job with the presentation. We really do have a lot to be proud of. Just really quickly, Thursday, this past Thursday and Friday, we did early dismissal for our parent-teacher conferences, and it was great to have parents back in the building. I know I spoke to a lot of the parents and guardians, as well as our faculty members who realized on Thursday and Friday how much they actually missed that personal connection, time to sit down and talk about the successes that have been reached during the school year, sets of goals for the months and into the future. So that went really well. So thanks to the faculty for that. Normally in May we hold a very large open house at the elementary school. It's really a celebration of the year. We dub it the celebration of our children. This year we're going to modify that slightly. So we're going to do grade level open houses. Mr. Reynoso mentioned an open house on the 5th of May for pre-K, and then the following week on the 10th, 11th, and 12th, we're going to do 2 grade levels at a time. So we figured that way we can, still accomplish the goal of, highlighting everything that went on during the year, but with a smaller crowd, a little bit more manageable for us with, some of the pieces that Mr. Nichols touched upon. Trying to stay smart and safe, but still celebrating what's back in school year. And then, of course, as we roll into the latter part of the year, we have a lot of fun things going on, a lot of great field trips, and a lot of good events ahead. So I'll update in the meetings to come. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, Ms. McKamey, do you want to proceed with the
Yeah.
report?
Can you
Going
can probably
to
do it with your eyes closed.
Yeah, it's going to be a very quick presentation, and we are really going to just talk about some changes that occurred when the state budget was adopted. So the state budget was adopted on Thursday evening, so we ended up getting new state aid runs. And it's just by coincidence that today we heard about our really great pre-K program, and I'm happy to report that one of the increases in state aid that we will receive, or we're planning to receive for next year now, is funding for our pre-K program for the first time since it's been established. The state actually increased our aid and allocated us an additional $113,400 in aid for that program. So we'll talk a little bit about that tonight also. So nothing has changed since my last presentation. The budget has not changed. On the agenda tonight, the board is scheduled to adopt the budget. The budget remains at $45,993,327, which is a 2.5% increase from the current year budget. Our tax levy limit was 2.73%. This is in light of inflation, which at the time the levy growth factor was calculated, the inflation rate was 4.6% at that point. And now I just heard a report that the inflation rate went all the way up to 7.6%. So even with the high inflation rate, our growth factor was capped at 2%. With exclusions, our levy limit was 2.73%. After developing the budget, we are able to go out with a tax levy increase of 2.5%, which is under the levy limit by a little less than $100,000. So the changes to the state aid projections from the governor's proposal, which we received in January, and the new proposal, which we just received last week, The big differences are the funding for the Universal Pre-K program, which is the first time that we've ever received an allocation for that program, which is wonderful. Our foundation aid has not increased or changed since the original governor's proposal in January, which is all in this column. So originally we were supposed to projected to receive $1,910,999 in state aid, and now our state aid is increased to $2,025,650. So you can see in other areas we have some slight increases and decreases. Our BOCES aid went down slightly by $290. We had a little decrease in transportation aid. Our software, library, and textbook aid went up slightly by $1,000. Our private excess cost aid, which is basically aid we receive for special ed students that are in districts in private schools, placed in private schools, that actually went up slightly by $481. So in total, our state aid increase is $114,651 compared to the governor's proposal in January. So the pre-K funding is really fantastic that we were able to receive this year. And there will be a process, though, for us to file for this funding. We will have to go through an application process. We will have to make sure that our program meets all of the requirements to receive this funding. And once everything is approved, we will be able to record those funds in the special aid fund for next year. So if you look at this, I know this is very small, and it should be able to have a full screen here. Let's see. Sorry. You'll see that this slide changed slightly. So I have here the current year's budget and all the revenues and financing sources that support that budget. And for the current year, we received approximately a little under 1.9 million. So going forward for next year, our state aid increased by $175,386, which is a rather large increase for year to year, because we usually don't receive large state aid increases just because of our wealth factor. Last year, the pre-K funding, the first round of pre-K funding started, and districts with a combined wealth ratio of 2 or less did receive that first round of funding. This year now, other districts are receiving that funding, and our wealth ratio is over 6%. So we were glad that they started distributing that to other districts. What we did was, nothing else on the slide changed, and none of the other projections changed for revenue. We increased the funding on the state aid, and then what we did was we decreased the appropriated fund balance number. So originally we had $529,455 appropriated for fund balance to support next year's budget, and we decreased that to $414,804. And the reason why we did that, and we didn't actually decrease any other area of funding, was because right now we want to make sure that we go through the application process and our application is approved before we, because the funds are not guaranteed unless we go through that process. So this was the safest way to move forward with the budget, would be to just reduce our appropriated fund balance line for the same amount of money that we are receiving in state aid. The tax levy limit factors have not changed. We reported all of this information to the State Comptroller's Office on March 1st. And tomorrow, the property tax report card will be sent to the State Education Department. The property tax report card is attached to the agenda for this evening, but it will be on our website. There is an English and Spanish version of the property tax report card, and the report card really shows the changes in budget to budget changes, tax levy changes. It shows enrollment changes, projected enrollment changes from the current year to next year. And it also includes a lot of information on our reserves and where we feel our reserves, our projected balances are going to be moving forward with our reserves. And that report card will be adopted tonight and sent up to the state sometime tomorrow. This also has stayed the same. There was also no change to this. And the 2.5% tax levy increase for a median home in Southampton and East Hampton, we're looking at annual increase of about $100 and a monthly increase a little over $8 for the median home valued in both towns. And of course, this projection assumes that there are no changes in assessed values and equalization rates from the current school year, because as assessed values and equalization rates change, these numbers will change slightly. But if there are any large changes going forward when the assessments are actually finalized in September, we will report back and let the community know if there are any large swings to any of these numbers. So we did talk about the budget in detail at the previous meeting. This is the budget by function and department. And we also talked about the budget in detail by object. And we did have to absorb some contractual personal service and employee benefit increases. Health insurance is increasing by almost 13% next year. So we will show increases in those areas. But we did find savings, and we were able to reduce the budget in many other areas to move forward with a 2.5% budget-to-budget increase. We do have another proposition on the ballot, so voters will see Proposition 1, approving the budget for next school year, and then Proposition 2, which is the use of the capital reserve funds for our district-wide HVAC project. This project will greatly enhance indoor air quality while also providing heating, more efficient units, and cooling throughout the district. So if this proposition is approved, we do plan to have a unit ventilator replacement project starting in the summer of 2023, and then we will have a unit vent installation project scheduled for the summer of 2024. This is the remaining dates on the budget calendar. We will have a meeting on the 27th where the BOCES budget will be adopted. On May 9th, we will have the budget hearing, and the budget hearing does provide the community with a lot of information, especially on the contingent budget. So if the community does not approve the budget and we have to go on contingency, we will talk about what things would need to get cut at that point. And we'll also be able to point everyone to the website. We're working on the newsletter right now. We're working on the budget statement right now, and all of that will be posted online. Also, this Wednesday, Mr. Nichols and I will be meeting with the Noyak Civic community, and we will go ahead and do a budget presentation for them. So anybody attending that meeting, it is a virtual meeting, and I'm sure it's open to the public. If anyone does have any questions, they could come to that meeting too on Wednesday for more information about the budget. But I'm just really happy that we were able to receive some additional funding. It's unprecedented that we've received so much grant funds within this past year. I think right now we're up to over $1 million worth of additional grant money. Just in our CRISA money, we received ARPA funds, and now we're receiving this PreK funding. So it is just really moving in the right direction. So we hope to see more state aid increases going forward.
Great. Okay.
Jennifer. Excellent job.
Question for Jennifer.
You're welcome.
No questions. Before we get to our consent agenda, item 7.10 is going to be withdrawn at this time on the consent agenda item. With that, is there a motion to approve consent agenda items 7.2 through 7.32, omitting 7.1?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion?
I just want to note that we have a resignation of a very, I think she's been here longer than me. John, yes, so I wish her best of luck on her retirement. So,
Congratulations, best of luck.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll say a word about that. Johanna has been here 27 years, and when I came here,
Sandy.
Longer than me.
when I came here as Dean of Students in 1996, she was the principal's assistant. And when I became principal, she remained my assistant. And I worked with her for 20 some odd years. And she's a very, very fine person. She has a wonderful family. Her daughter went to Pearson, was valedictorian, graduated from Bowdoin. Johanna and John are wonderful parents, and she's a dear friend, and I'm going to miss her. But I know she's looking forward to spending time with her grandchild, and I wish her the best.
Congratulations. Yeah. With that, Mary, please open up the floor. Let's just computers. We'll vote. Mr. Griggs.
Yes.
Mr. Winter.
Yes.
Ms. Kroll.
I have one, but yes.
Oh. Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous.
I have one too. Okay, moving on to tonight's agenda. We will move to committee report. If there is a report, if not, we will table it till the next meeting. So if there's an update on the audit committee, if not, we will table that till the next. I'll make a motion. We don't even need a motion. We'll just table that, Mary, to the next meeting.
Okay, yep.
And the wall of honor, I believe, member.
Yeah, I can give it up there,
Great.
because Mike's not here tonight.
Yep.
So the finalized, pictures, the plaques were selected and they are at the place getting done. Unfortunately, believe it or not, it takes like 4 to 6 months to do a plaque.
Yeah.
Okay, that was crazy. So we're looking at that and then probably looking at homecoming for the opening of the wall. And at that point, I'd like to get to that up before I keep It's my goal.
We have some time, Sam.
I know, 16 months.
Yep. Thank you. So we'll move on to discussion. We were going to discuss a second retreat. I don't know if we want to do that. Since we only have 4 members. We'll carry the second retreat discussion over to the next meeting.
Okay. It'll be April 27th.
Yes. Great. And public input number 2, same rules that I read earlier apply. Is there anybody here for public input number 2, in person or online? I don't see anybody here. Mr. Fisher? No. Nobody. Section 11 of tonight's agenda. Shortly, I'll make a motion to see if the board will go into executive session to discuss collective bargaining unit negotiations and the employment of a particular person. Should that motion carry, the only business the board will undertake when they come out of that meeting would be to close the public hearing. No other action will be taken. With that, is there a motion to convene into executive session to discuss the collective bargaining unit negotiations and the employment of a particular person? So moved. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries 4-0. Thank you. We'll go into executive session. Everybody else, have a good evening. Thank you very much for coming.